Hi guys, my apologies first of all if my initial video's been taken offline, where I've stuck a clip in there from a UK TV programme. They've not been too happy on the copyrights, I don't think, uh, even though there was no sound to it, but that's up to them. Um, right, so I was thinking since in a few days' time I'm going to go and see some friends that I haven't seen in a while. Um, I was thinking for people who have never heard of what potentially might happen and will have not prepared at all for it. Um, Generally, what information could you give them? As far as I feel, most people, if they want to hear it, they'll hear it and uh, they might take it seriously, or a lot of people just sort of think you're crazy for it. And by the time it does probably start to show itself, I don't believe the world's going to be in a state where you're going to be able to pop down the shops and buy this, that, the other, and 50 kilos of rice and whatever else you sort of haven't sort of already got still. So, what I was thinking is the best idea to do with people is to give them a list, almost like a um, like my last video had the list of everything that you can potentially have, uh, potentially buy that you might need, which would be very useful. Uh, if you just look around your house or your flat or cabin or wherever you live, you might find there's all sorts of things around the house that can be so useful for so many things. Um, and so you might have a lot of stuff without even sort of realizing it really. So this video is aimed at generally once the SHTF has happened. um, I reckon it'll be a political issue first that bogs the world down before it fully turns up. Um, what you can potentially do to sort of help yourself. So it's generally splitting it into sort of two sections, and that's sort of bugging in and sort of bugging out. So if you're bugging in, you've got everything already at home. Um, you might want to just make sure anything, depending on where it is secure and safe and potentially won't get stolen. Um, so most things you might have all on site already. So three main categories is water, food, and shelter. So when it comes to water, first off, um, within your house, you will most likely have bleach around. Um, you can use that to purify water. So if there is no water supply still running, then 2 drops of water into a litre of water, and then leave it half an hour to an hour, and you've got pure water. You can also boil it. Um, those are probably the two main things you'd still have available if you've not been prepping beforehand. Food. So once it gets to that state, it's definitely worth starting by using up the food in your freezer and your fridge first of all, and keeping all your dried goods for as long as possible. Um, and if you can get hold of more, then make sure you buy dried goods, especially something like rice, which is quite filling, can be sort of reasonably cheap, um, and it can store for 10 years. Also things like pasta are good for things like that. Generally the white ones, so white rice, white pasta, uh, that can last up to 7 years, although you ain't gonna really need it for that long. Then literally go through all of the canned goods that you can get your hands on. So if you think canned goods can be opened decades afterwards in some cases, and the food inside is still fine, so that is one to do. And think of all the variations of tinned food that you can get. Meat, veg, you can get your pastas, you can get your fruits. So you can generally get everything that you'd have in a normal meal in a tin, which lasts for ages. So definitely go down that route. Don't go to the bread aisle and think buying 30 loaves of bread's going to help when go off before you can eat them all anyway. And last but not least, shelter. So if you are at home, then um, you've probably determined that you either don't want to move, so you're either happy hoping that you're going to be fine where you are, or you know that you have a nice high elevation. You might be out in the middle of nowhere, things like that. So you generally feel safe and secure as to where you are. Um, so when it does come to shelter, uh, with what will possibly happen, if it is sort of 200 mile an hour or 200 plus mile an hour winds, your house might not be the safest place to keep you in. So the best thing you can do is get digging, if you can, and literally get digging a nice big, um, effectively the same as like a tornado shelter. So a nice big hole in the ground which is nice and secure, and then chuck a load of essentials in there as well, and obviously things like sleeping bags and stuff like that. So you are ready then for when the main event comes. Um, Another note on water actually. Obviously, you'll want to store as much water as possible, because if things are going that badly downhill, you're probably going to find that the water turns off at some point. Um, so if if you've got a bath or something like that, uh, any containers, fill them up. With your bath, if you've got some like duct tape or silicone sealant, then literally seal the bottom shut so the water can't leak out. Yeah, and then fill it up. And then if you've got lots of cling film, something like that, stick it over the top so that no bugs and stuff fly and land in it. And then that way it should be kept safer for longer. Um, Obviously, if you are staying at home, you might have things like candles around, which is sort of going to give you light if the power goes off. Uh, Matches, lighters. Uh, Generally, everyone's got something like that in their house. So a way of being able to start fire, if you do need to sort of make a fire. And think that, you know, could you, if everything goes off and you're very cold, could you have a fire in your house? Quite possibly. And think of all the different bits and pieces in your house you could use for piping, and or better still, if you've got a fire already in your house, you can use that. So that's bugging in. Have a look round. Well, this is more for providing to somebody else who hasn't looked. But my idea is to uh, give my friends a sheet and stuff as to when the best time is. I'll let them know sort of how I feel about what's going to happen. And if they take it seriously, fine. If they don't, uh, I know I've tried and can at least keep trying and give them information, and hope that if it does happen, then they've got some hope and optimism from it. Right, so the next one is bugging out. So if you're anywhere near the coast, you're toast on the coast, pretty much. Um, I think even uh, the worst earthquake that I've seen on the earthquake results is the Fukushima 2011 quake, which obviously killed, tens of thousands of people and literally wiped out miles and miles going inland, and literally just completely wiped out whole villages and stuff. Um, and that's just from I think that was a 9. Was it a 9 or an 8? It was pretty high up. Um, Obviously, within the 2-3 days afterwards, there must have been about a 1,000 plus quakes on top. So horrendous. So being by the coast, not a good idea. Even being inland, if you've got no elevation to you, you know, have a think if it would be safe. Grab tell your friends to grab a map and literally have a look and see if there's huge hills and stuff in the way which might potentially stop something, or if it like where I am is it's generally a rolling flat up sort of 20 miles inland, um, and still not high enough in elevation, so realistically not safe enough. So if you think there could potentially be, you know, say a 600-foot wave, so just under 200 meters or roundabouts, then being on the first hill 200 meters up inland, it's going to carry on over that and fill up the valley behind, and that will take ages to drain if it does. Well, will eventually, or it'll find a way out. So I think if you're bugging out, the thing I'm thinking with my friends is I'm not just going to say get to higher ground. I'm going to say this is the location I'm going to, get to there, because instantly that will give them hope that they've got somewhere to aim for as well. Uh, they will know that someone else should be making their way there too, um, and that as somebody that's been looking into it for ages, you potentially have been looking into more information, and so will be more of an expert on them than what they would as to what will potentially happen. So just literally give them a location and say, I'm going to be here. Um, if all contact disappears, I'm off there anyway. If there's still contact, let me know before you go, just to see if it really is that time to leave. Which, once everything collapses, I think it will be then anyway. Um, right, so how much stuff can you take? That is the problem with bugging out. Um, First and foremost, your transport. So um, think what your friends might possibly have. Most people generally have cars, so that's your best bet to think they've got a car, they've probably got space in their boots, they could probably fill it to the brim pretty much if it was really that dire. So think along those lines as to what would be the best things to tell them to take with them. So first and foremost is water. So make sure in this sort of instance, tell them to have enough water for their journey, uh, plus some extra on top, so that they can get to where they need to. Tell them if they've got water containers to take the best water containers they can possibly take. If they've got steel canteens, that sort of thing, um, definitely take them, because you can boil the water straight into a steel canteen if you need to, and sterilise it. So absolutely perfect in that sense. Food. Uh, Again, you're just going to have to leave all your perishable items. Literally take as much of your canned food, uh, your pastas, beans, anything dry that's going to last quite a while. Like dried fruits, just anything sort of dry which you can just take with you and just literally throw in the car to go. Um, Obviously, little things like condiments and stuff will definitely help with morale boosting as well, uh, especially if you don't have many different types of food that they could take. Um, and obviously, cutlery and you know, just enough plates to get them by, and uh, just everything you'd need, sort of cooking and eating utensils as well, just in case. Um, then shelter. So where I'd aim for all of my friends and stuff to get to. Uh, there are houses. They might not be standing by the end of it. Um, so you need to tell your friends to literally take shelter with them as well. So if they've got tents, tarpaulins, even things like just fishing tents, just um, sort of canvas sheets. If you've got a boat or something like that, you can just literally take that with you. Well, if you've got something like a boat, tow that along with you. You might need it along the way. Um, if you've got something like a caravan to tow, there you go. You've got an instant shelter that you can tow behind you. So literally take your shelter. If you've got candles, batteries, any torches, any sort of charging type devices that they can get their hands on, um, anything like any medicines that they might need, literally medicines. That's a good one. Medicine, first aid kits, literally all of that sort of stuff that you can literally pick up and throw in a car with you. Also rucksacks, so that if you do get stuck and you cannot drive any further, be it just too much traffic, just mass exodus of sort of people walking, and it really doesn't take much for these sort of things to happen, and all you need some arguments or accidents on a road, and it could be completely stopped. And if people start going, "Oh my God, the roads are stuck," people are going to get out their cars and they're just going to start walking if they feel they've got somewhere to go. Most people with this, I don't believe, are going to know what's happening. They're literally just going to sit at home, look at the sky and go, "Wow, that's really pretty. What the hell is it? Where's it come from?" And then that's going to be it, um, which is not going to be too helpful. So they might have to go on foot. So literally rucksacks. So make sure clothing wise as well, you've got your clothes. Take uh, summer and winter clothes. So make sure you've got a mix of the clothes that they might need. Shoes, if tell them to take all the shoes they possibly can as well, because obviously walking around without shoes on is not 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 the most pleasant of things. And then tell them on top of all of that, if they've still got space and they've got tools and stuff, literally go and find every tool that you can, which isn't electrical, which you could possibly use. So I've bought things like a little, just a manual hand drill, because I know the electric one, if there's no power, you're going to be stuck. Um, yeah, and then literally anything you can get that's electrical, which might help. Um, Things like, um, if you've got solar panels, that sort of thing. If you've really, really got space, try and take them. If not, there you go. There's a general list anyway. There's always more to add, unfortunately. Uh, but I would set it out in a way to them, which I'm still work in progress at the moment, um, to build a list where you run down and you prioritise everything as you need to. So no, I don't think that's paused. So yeah, on my list I've been building, I've been giving things a weighting and a priority as to what would be the most important things to take, so you can generally do the same with what you give to your friends. Also, depending on how your interpretation is as to what's happening, you know, if you're say religious and you believe it's sort of wormwood coming back, if you believe that it's the Anunnaki on their planet popping back, whizzing past for a flyby, um, you just believe it's literally just a planet that's been known about and recorded in history and obviously been lied to. Um, Stick a blurb together as to what it is, um, and try and pop down some information and some sources as well as to what you feel is the best locations that they could have a quick look for things as well. Because literally, if they just see a pretty light in the sky and you're there going, "Oh no, it's the end of the world. Everyone follow me, get in land," they're just going to think, oh, that person's panicking, they're a nut. So if you literally say, oh no, I know what this is, I've been looking and following this for the last 2, 3 years, 6 months, I've heard about this and I know it's this and that, and from what I can gather, this is what's going to happen, they're more likely to go, oh, and actually listen to you. So bear that sort of thing in mind. Panic breeds more panic, really. So if you're calm and you can provide knowledge to people, they're going to stay calm as well, and they're more likely to listen to you. So bear that in mind. Um, right then, I think what I'll just do is I'll just rumble through a few pictures that I took the other day. In fact, I think this feels quite good. So just to end it on. And yes, I know that really this is just lens flares. It's quite interesting though how the one on the left of the sun a minute ago was literally just within the rays of the sun though. It does make me worry. Also, if these are just literally lens flares, surely they should line up. And they're all over the place. And look at the lovely rainbow bits coming out the edges of the sun. And literally the rays coming out the top as well. Um, I guess you'd have to dig back a few years and see if it really was the same or not. I really don't know. And then more along the lines of just the sort of high speed sort of orbs that I sort of posted. Where are they? So there you go, a little white dot just there. Could be a bug. Let's keep zooming. Let's take a closer look. It's quite a long white line though. And then you see there's a smaller one here. And if I zoom off over this way. Yeah, there we go. There's this one over here, which I've generally been capturing off to the right of the sun, near enough every time I take photos, which really is worrying me, because I honestly do believe then that that is something there. Zoom in again. You can see there's absolutely lots of white dots here. Uh, it just seems too much for bugs. I've been seeing similar lineups as well. Almost like constellations at points. And as you can see, they're just everywhere. It could just be the camera. Unfortunately, I didn't get any infrared that day. Apart from this very weird infrared anomaly. This is a photo taken at the moon, because it seemed to have a rather weird reflection around it. As you can see, I don't know what that is. That just baffles me, that one. Especially since in the next one, it's fine. I can only imagine I've moved the camera or something. So it wasn't just the round the clouds on these either. Oh, there you go, there's an infrared sunrise. Right, so that's enough of me rabbiting on. Have a think of how you can actually let your friends know, friends and family know, um, that there's potentially going to be something that's going to cause real big issues. Think what is the best way of approaching it. Um, I've tried even just with my family. Wife still thinks I'm crazy. Um, my dad's very rational, um, so he rationalised his way near enough everything, um, which is fine, and I'm happy to debunk everything possible. But that's just from literally just sort of touching the surface with him. 'Cause, don't think that was really helping too much. And then when I told my brother as well, I think he told my parents that he thought I was going crazy. So there we go. I think one way timing is key, and in another, I think having the information to hand to help people is definitely key as well. So please have a think and put any comments please below as well. Thanks. Bye.